So Tom Rainer recently found that over 84% of churches are either plateaued or in decline. And the reason for that is because most churches have not figured out how to effectively bridge the gap to the next generation. So in this video, we're going to be talking specifically about how to attract millennials to church coming up. Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Chris Abbott, but all my friends just call me Abbo. And if we're meeting for the first time, this channel is dedicated to helping you with social media, technology, and specifically reaching more people for Jesus and growing your church. So let's dive in and let's talk about how we can effectively reach the next generation. And we'll specifically talk about 3 different ways that you can attract millennials to your church. So let's dive in. The truth is that most churches are perfectly equipped to reach a world that doesn't exist anymore. See, too many churches are using 20th century methods to reach a 21st century world. And until we figure out how to bridge that gap, we're not going to be able to effectively reach the next generation. So let's talk about 3 different strategies that you can use in order to reach the next generation and be able to attract millennials to your church. So if you're still using ineffective and outdated methods like direct mail, TV, radio, newspaper, magazine, right? This is just simply not going to reach millennials. They're a digital generation, so we need to use digital strategies in order to reach a digital generation. All right, so the first strategy that you can use is Instagram. There are over 1 billion people on Instagram, and a ton of them are millennials. In fact, one of the crazy trends about millennial and Instagram is that this is actually how millennials get ready in the morning, right? So just talk to a couple millennials in your church or in your world, and you'll find out that a ton of them do this. What they'll do is they'll literally wake up in the morning, and they'll grab their phone, and they'll prop it up against their mirror in the bathroom, and literally they'll just click on Instagram stories and let them run while they're getting ready. So they're doing their hair, doing their makeup, brushing their teeth, and they're literally just letting Instagram stories play. And that's how they get their news. That's how they keep up with their friends and everything that's going on. So Instagram is a huge, important part of their life, and most of them start their day with Instagram stories. So this is a great way to get in front of millennials by using Instagram. And one of the best ways that you can do that is, since we know that they're using Instagram stories anyway, you can actually set up an Instagram stories ad and actually invite people to church. The best way to do this is actually through the Facebook Ads Manager, which sounds a little bit backwards, I know, but that's how you create Instagram ads, because Facebook owns Instagram. So if you go to facebook.com/ads manager, you can actually set up an Instagram ad, and you can run it on the Instagram feed and Instagram stories, or you can simply set up an Instagram stories only ad, and you can make sure to put that in front of tons of millennials and Gen Zers who happen to live within driving distance of your church. So they're going to be getting ready in the morning, and all of a sudden they're going to hear an invite from you on their Instagram story, inviting them out to Sunday morning. All right, so strategy number 2, Facebook ads. Now, the reason we're talking about Facebook ads and not just Facebook in general is because Facebook's organic reach is down so low that right now, whenever you post on Facebook, less than 3% of people who like your page are actually going to see your post, right? So I know that's a little bit disheartening, right? Kind of sounds like, why are we spending so much time on Facebook? But the bottom line is Facebook has said, hey, you got to pay to play, right? So you can boost posts in order to get them out to more people, or you can run a targeted Facebook ad, right? And a Facebook ad is different than a boosted post. You actually want to go to facebook.com/ads manager, and that's where you can go to set up a targeted Facebook ad. And one of the best things about this is that the single largest age demographic on Facebook are people ages 25 to 34. So over a third of the users on Facebook are between the ages of 25 and 34. So if you're specifically trying to reach millennials who have young families with kids, this is the best place to reach them, because the single largest age demographic on Facebook are people between the ages of 25 and 34. Now, the cool thing about this is there's actually 2.7 billion people on Facebook, and 1.8 billion log in every single day. So that makes Facebook the single largest missions field the church has ever seen. So one of the questions I get asked a lot is, hey man, like, should churches leave Facebook, right? Because isn't Mark Zuckerberg and all the people on Facebook, like, aren't they, really leaning to the left, and they're kind of persecuting Christians, right? And doesn't the algorithm discriminate against Christians? And to that, I would say no, it really doesn't. But let's say I'm wrong. Even if it does, that doesn't mean we can leave Facebook. There's 2.8 billion people on Facebook. That makes Facebook the single largest missions field in the history of the church. We have to show up there, even if we're getting persecuted and getting held back. So the best way to do this is with targeted Facebook ads. So in fact, I know of a church that's doing a great job reaching millennials right now, and they set up a Facebook ad that actually ran to a quiz that helped people find their calling and discover their purpose. And in the first 3 days, they had 37 people go through the quiz and 8 new families that planned to visit to their church. See, that's the power of a targeted Facebook ad. So before I get to my last point, make sure to like this video. That's simply one of the best ways to be able to give back on social media and especially YouTube. And make sure that you subscribe to the channel because we are putting out brand new videos, fresh content every single day, 5 days a week. And if you hit that little bell notification, you'll get notified every single time we drop a new video. And my third tip for how to reach millennials and attract them to church is YouTube. Now, most people don't realize this, but YouTube is actually a search engine, right? So while Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and Twitter are all social media platforms, what happens is when you post on there, basically you get a good spike for the first day, 2 days, at the most 3 days, and then all of your content dies. So you have to constantly be putting out new content in order to stay in front of people. But see, YouTube is actually a search engine. So the longer your content is on YouTube, the more people that find it, right? So it's actually the second largest search engine in the world next to only Google, and it's owned by Google. And the best part is that now YouTube videos will actually show up in Google searches, right? So this is a great way to be able to get in front of new people, especially the next generation, millennials and Gen Z. In fact, 95% of Gen Z spends at least an hour a day on YouTube. So this is the future, and the next generation is definitely trending towards YouTube. So this is a really important place for us to be able to show up. Okay, so there's a couple of different ways that you can use YouTube in order to reach millennials, right? The first is by simply posting your Sunday sermons. And this is something that a lot of people are probably doing, right? But you want to make sure to post your Sunday sermon to YouTube every single week. And there's a couple of different things that you can do to make this a little bit more effective and help millennials, especially millennials who live within driving distance of your church, find your videos, right? The first thing is hashtags, right? So hashtag is basically just like a file cabinet, and it's a way to help your videos show up in people that follow those hashtags. So you might want to use hashtag and the name of your city, right? Or hashtag and the name of your church. This is simply going to help put your content in front of more people. The second way that you can use YouTube effectively is by adding maybe your sermon bumper videos or some of your announcements, right? So the cool thing is if someone finds your YouTube channel and the only thing that's on there is your sermons, that's not a bad thing, but you become a lot more relatable if they find your sermon bumper intro videos, or maybe they find your announcement videos every single week. If someone is thinking about visiting your church for the very first Sunday, they're going to watch a bunch of videos and they can get a much better feel for your DNA and your vision if they're able to see what a service looks like, listen to a couple of sermons, check out your announcement videos and see what you guys have coming up, and check out some of your recent sermon series to see what things you're preaching about on Sunday. This is a great way to give millennials kind of a 30,000 foot view of your church. All right, so if you want to learn more about how to use some of these platforms in order to market your church and kind of help get the word out, check out our other video, How to Market Your Church, and we'll show you a couple of tips and a simple framework that you can start using to attract new visitors to your church this Sunday.